so basic gameplays. Every model that you have will have some kind of a point cost, with the exception of the Warcasters, who actually give you extra points. So, for instance, Krios. Well, actually, it's right here. So the Crusader costs 5 or 6 points to field. The Repenter, he is 4 points, and the Revenger is 6 points. Okay. If you go to a squad, usually a squad will have a base point. So, for instance, like the Iron Fine Pankmen, they're, I think, 5 or 6 points, can't remember off the top of my head. And then you can actually add points to increase the squad or add stuff like that. But everything has a point cost. The Manhunter there, he costs 2 points, etc., etc. So basically, both players will decide on a point level. Like I said, this is just a battle box, so I think we both equal to 9 or 10 points each, somewhere around there. The reason for that, I know the math doesn't add up, is that each Warcaster actually gives extra points. So in this case, Krios gives 5 Jack points. These points can only be used to field Jacks, and it's just another way to get more Jacks. So. For instance, if we were playing 15 points, if I was using Krios, I would actually get 20 points in total. Okay, and that's, like I said, only the 5 points he gives are only for Warjacks of any size. You should use those points up first. So that's the basics there. The second thing to decide is if there are any scenarios. You can just look up different scenarios online, in the books, on the forums, whatever works. They just get an idea of what they are there. I don't recommend starting with scenarios. Usually the easiest way to start is just cast or kill. So yeah, that's basics of that. The other thing is definitely take a read through the book here. Get a basic idea. I mean, I believe the battle boxes do come with quick start rules now, as I did before, but obviously to get the more advanced rules and to learn everything, it's great to get the book. It's just the way to go here. So, but yeah, that's what you need for that. Missing anything before the game starts?
No, before.
Okay, so actually let's. What you'll notice is that each model has its own stats and special rules. So I'm not going to show everything here, but the basic stats are speed, strength, mat, rat, defense, armor, command, POW, P plus S, and focus stat. Not every model will have all these stats. Most of them have most of them, but specifically, and of course wounds down here, but specifically the focus stat are usually only for Warcasters and some very few special models there. So, first thing is, this game is a game of inches. When it says speed, in this case Krios is 5, that means he can move 5 speed, 5 inches on your ruler there. If you want to run, you can do that. Running is double your speed. Once again, I'm not going to go into great detail here, but W speed is that. Strength is very rarely used on its own here. There are a few special attacks, but it more actually adds to the strength of the hand-to-hand weapon. Okay, Mat is for attacking in hand-to-hand battle. Rat, so Mat would be melee attack. Rat would be ranged attack, and that's for shooting. Defense is what you're going to roll against to hit someone, which we'll show later. And armor, obviously, is how much he can take before he takes wounds. And then a command stat, which is once again used for several things. Generally, the only thing you have to worry about in the weapons, short of special rules, which would usually be on the back of the card, and these little icons here, is the P plus S, which is, once again, something we'll show later on here. But yeah, so you can see Warcasters have a spell card afterwards, which we'll go through after when we're actually showing. And then, of course, always check the back of the cards as well for different rules and stuff here. So that is the basics of a model. The other thing to note is a focus stat. When you hear us talk about control area, that's always double the caster's focus. So in this case, Krios has 7 focus, so times that by 2 would be 14. So basically, when measuring a control stat, You measure from the Warcaster, and it's that 14 inches in this case for Krios all the way around would be his control area, back, and all that kind of stuff. Okay. Technically, the way the rules read, you can measure your control stat or your control area anytime that you want, which you can imagine might lead to some strange and fun issues during the game, but it is completely legal to measure from your caster his control range at any point of the game. Okay, and just to show you the difference here, I believe Sorsha has 6 focus. Okay, that would mean that her control area is actually 12 inches. Okay, so then she once again would measure 12 inches anywhere for her control area. Okay, the other thing that the control area is used for, other than spells, is you have a 1 per game thing called a feat. Every Warcaster has a different feat, which you find just on the back of the Warcaster card. So once again, we'll show that as the game goes. The other generally important thing for the control area is your war jacks. So generally the Warcasters, in this case Sorsha, controls her 2 jacks. Her jacks to get focus from Sorsha, which once again we'll show later, they have to be within her 12 inches. Okay, so at any time for any jack starts their activation outside of her 12 inches, she cannot allocate that jack focus until the next activation when it's back in the control range. So that's the things to remember that with the control range. Control range is important. The other thing I recommend is, I believe actually in all the faction decks as well as the book come little stat cards that show you what those little icons and such mean and everything there. So there's a bunch of different of them. Really not that hard to remember once you get going, but we're not going to go through all of them here. So that is the basics of the stats and such. So once again, John did have first turn, so we'll be going through the actual turn of that there. Okay, so at the start of each player's turn, you have 3 phases. You have maintenance phase, control phase, and an activation phase. Really don't need to worry about too much. I won't show directly the book, but basically the maintenance phase is where you're going to remove all the unspent focus. You're going to check for any continuous effects like fire, cold, all that kind of stuff. And then any other kind of effects that some spells and stuff might actually specify that happens in the maintenance phase. You're going to do all that stuff. In the control phase is when the caster actually gets their focus points back and then can allocate the focus to things that are allowed to have focus. As well as certain spells are called upkeep spells. This is when you upkeep them if you so choose. So that's basically of that. And then of course any other effects that happen to specify the control phase would be there. Activation phase is where stuff actually happens. So where John's actually going to be able to move stuff, do spells, all that kind of good stuff. So yeah, that's the basics of the phases there. Yeah, your best bet, just like I said, to read through the book there or go online and whatnot and see the specifics. But that's the basics of the phase.